Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. And how's everybody keeping? If you're watching, let us know where you're watching in from. And obviously, we want the weather forecast for whatever part of the world or the country that you're watching in from. So today, there's more monkeys getting the brass balls frozen off them because it was a frosty Baltic morning here in Dublin. And I'd say it's the same probably all over the country. In saying that it's dry, it's not raining, you know, that way, and it looks quite bright out. So today I'm popping on because we got our flower delivery came this morning. And when you're enrolled on a course here at Kay's Flower School, part of our programs is all the students will have an account set up with one of the Dutch suppliers in Holland, and they will receive their own fresh flower delivery direct from Holland. It's included in the price of the course, and that gets delivered to them. And then they have all the flowers and the foliage that they need, you know, that way for making their floral designs, whether they're on module 1, which is mostly flower arranging, module 2, which would be mostly hand-tied bouquets, funeral work and advanced flower arranging, module 3, which would be typically all wedding floristry, bridal bouquets, etc. And our last one, module 4, and that would be hotel and event decoration, basically large wedding floral structures. So for anybody that is interested in any of our training courses, the easiest thing to do is drop us an email, info@flowerschoolireland.com, and we can forward you on all the information. We can also send you on information on grants, because if you're registered as being unemployed on any sort of social welfare payment, you will get €1,000 towards your training. So basically your course will be free. Or if you're self-employed or you're employed working, you will get 25% towards some of the courses, not all of the courses, and that would be through a SkillNet funding. But also for people that's in the UK, there is UK funding available as well. And again, different parts of the country, whether you're in Northern Ireland or you're in a Gaeltacht area, there's lots of different funding available. The handiest way, rather than me spending ages explaining them all here, drop us an email, info@flowerschoolireland.com. So back to our flower delivery. Now remember, if you have any questions, post them in the comments. Deirdre's watching the camera at the other side and she can call them out to me. Anything at the moment?
No, it seems it's raining about and it's slow.
All
it's
right.
dull and grey in Clondalk, and Breda is watching in from there.
How you, Breda?
Carmel is on good morning from Wexford. Marie Dillon is on watching from Clare. Victoria is watching from Yorkshire. She says it's sunny but it's freezing.
Yeah, seems to be freezing all over the country.
Yeah.
Getting rid of all the germs, getting rid of all the COVID. So when you get your, this is the comes
from. Turn the box the other way.
Okay, I'm going to take the lid off and then turn
right.
it. You see, yeah. Give me space for unpacking. Have this all organised. You've done this before. So, this would be a flower delivery, a typical flower delivery from what's called hook flowers, or you'll often hear me pronouncing it Hoick flowers. So these would have came direct from Holland, and this would be their box. Okay, hopefully I don't knock the camera out of the way. There we go. Maybe this wasn't as awkward. There we go. So that's what the box looks like. Okay. So that's their kind of like logo. Now, as you work through the different modules, we do use different Dutch companies, and that gets the students the experience of having accounts with other companies, you know, that way, and seeing what the different online services are. Now, again, we cover all this as part of our training courses. So in our box here today, we have Germany. Now, you have to remember all these flowers are dehydrated because they have been out of water for typically the last 72 hours. They have been in a refrigeration truck and they would have been transported from Holland to the UK to Ireland, okay? And normally they arrive into Ireland like late last night. The delivery men then deliver through the night, and the aim is that most flower shops will have their flower delivery by this morning. So this would have been there early this morning. So this is what we call a racket of Germany. And as part of the tutorials, we would have a pre-recorded tutorial showing you exactly how to unpack them, right? There's 25 flowers there. Now, flower prices are off the wall at the moment. You're probably sick of hearing that, you know what I mean? And they just seem to be going up and up and up. It's all down to shortages. It's down to huge demand for flowers at the moment, but also to the gas prices that have went up in Holland, okay? And lots of the growers have found that they've either had to cut back on the heating of the greenhouses, which has obviously cut back on the amount of flowers that's available, which has caused a shortage. And again, when there's a shortage, flower prices go up and up and up. And then for the ones who didn't cut back on their heating bills, you know, that way, well, they're obviously going to charge extra. So like there's going this year, like roses, anybody that's planning on buying in roses for Valentine's Day, they're just going to be off the wall. Now, popular flowers from Holland, because obviously they're the national flower of Holland, would be the tulips. And are these beautiful? You know, that way, mixed bunches of tulips. So normally tulips are sold in bunches of 10, but the minimum you have to buy in is 50. Like, so you can't just go and buy in 10 tulips. Now, it is possible to buy in 50 tulips of all the one color if that's what you would prefer to do. So I'm just kind of going through a typical order just to give you an idea what it looks like. This would be another bunch of Germany, but where the previous bunch came in a racket, this one then just came like as a bunch. Now again, you would have 25 Germany. Personally, I love to get them. 20, is it?
Yeah.
Normally, I prefer to buy them in the racket, okay? But you don't always have that choice. It depends on the color that you're looking for. So as you're kind of going through the online site, and you'll see all the different, and there'll be hundreds of them, by the way, all the different shades of Germany. And normally what it is, you're picking the shades that you want, because maybe you need it, if it's wedding work, you need it to match with bridesmaids dresses or wedding dresses, etc. So these are roses. Now, normally roses are sold in multiples of 10. These ones are a little bit crooked in the bunch. These ones are a little bit more even. The other thing about roses is they're sold by the length. So you can see one bunch is longer than the other. In saying that, I would class both of these bunches as being short stem roses. Now, with all these flowers, we have typical, you know what I mean, conditioning and treatment, pre-recorded videos, you know what I mean, that you can watch. They're all included as part of the training, but we do have lots of them up on our website under blog. So if you go to our website, which is called flowerschooolireland.com, and if you click on the button that says blog, there's lots and lots of free tutorials there, which lots of you don't realize. You don't need a login, you don't need a password, and they're going to cost you absolutely nothing. Do you know the way? And you'll see lots of tutorials on the treatment and the conditioning of particular flowers. So that's well worth like availing of and taking advantage of. Now, these are, again, another bunch of roses, fabulous red roses here. These are the Freedom Red Roses. Now, here at the school, myself and Deirdre, we kind of have a little bit of a nickname for them. We call them the feckin' freedoms, okay? Because they're absolutely full of thorns. They're normally really thorny, but they're a fantastic lasting rose. So again, if you've been watching me maybe, you know, I mean, the end of last year coming up to Christmas, I probably would have been pushing the Naomi rose. The Naomi rose is definitely, we have some Naomi roses as well, we have. And the Naomi rose is definitely one of, just kind of compare the two heads there together, right? Are definitely our favorite roses. It's hard to see a difference here probably on the camera, but they're definitely one of our favorite roses. But they are mad expensive, and definitely for Valentine's Day, they're much, much more expensive than the Freedom roses. But in longevity of the roses, Freedom definitely lasts longer than the Naomi roses. So if the students were asking me, or people, florists out there would say, well, Janette, what roses would you recommend? I probably, for Valentine's Day, would recommend the Freedom rose. But it obviously is all going to depend on prices and trends. And at the moment, we wouldn't have exact prices. We're getting quotes. We're being given prices like if we pre-order. But again, like there's always that chance if you pre-order that near the time the price could drop down. It's a bit like the Ryanair flights, and it happened to us at Christmas time. I booked my Ryanair Christmas flights ages and ages ago, you know, months ago or whatever, and I can't remember, but they were quite expensive at the time, and there was a shortage of flights and so on, and I booked them, you know, to make sure I got them. And then Deirdre came along. She had her flights booked as well, but she'd cancelled them because she got COVID. And then when she came out of quarantine, she went online again to book her flights, and she ended up getting the same flight that she had paid €400 for, she got for €40. So again, like, you know, when you talk about pre-ordering or being organized and, you know, I mean, getting yourself kind of like ordered well in advance, there is always that chance that near the time the prices could drop. At the moment, a lot of flower shops are, it's not that they're boycotting red roses, but they're kind of saying like, feck this brigade of soldiers, you know, that way, paying out that sort of money. Is the customer going to, you know what I mean, pay that sort of money for red roses? So they're kind of saying like pink is going to be the new red. or they're kind of pushing like more mixed bouquets, you know, the way our florist choice bouquets is what they're kind of pushing, which probably does work out better value for the consumer. And I reckon, okay, depending on will the florists stick to this, but if the florists, you know, go by what they're threatening at the moment, feck this, we're not going to buy any red roses. We're going to go for pink being the new red, or other colours or mixed flowers. The growers may be left with a lot of red roses, you know, that sort of way in stock. And if that happens, the price will drop. But we don't know what's going to happen. So as I said, roses are sold by length, and the longer they are, the dearer they are. So here we have a short stem rose. So you can see the difference. You see the way in the length, but you can also see the difference in the heads. Normally with short stem roses, the heads of the roses are definitely much, much smaller. They're not going to be as good a quality rose. Now, they're not bad quality, you know what I mean? They're not as good a quality rose, and normally they don't last as long. But in saying that, if you treat and condition your roses properly, and like as I said, if you go to the blog on our website, we've loads of great tips on treating roses. And if you do that, you'll be absolutely amazed on how long you can make your roses last. And the thing is, it's not just treating them once, you know, that way. That'd be like getting a baby and feeding it the first day and saying, feck you now for the next 10 days. You have to look after them, do you know, that way. And if you look after your baby, it'll grow. And if you look after your roses, they will grow and definitely last longer. Now, we have some fabulous lilies here. Now, with lilies, like you pay by the number of heads.
And they were really expensive, lilies.
Yeah, so again, lilies are out of season this time of the year, you know, that way. And they will take absolutely ages to open. You can see how tight the buds are there. Like they're really fresh. Obviously, everything here is coming direct from kind of like growers. Hasn't been to a middleman. So hasn't been to, say, a wholesaler here in Ireland. Nothing wrong with a wholesaler here in Ireland. But like normally wholesalers here in Ireland, they would have got their flowers from Holland to a wholesaler in Ireland, and then they're dispatched to you. Do you know, that sort of way? Where this way we kind of cut out the middleman. We can buy our flowers in that little bit cheaper, but they're definitely a lot fresher as well. We have some gorgeous leucadendron, and they're kind of more of a pinky shade, you know what I mean? So like for mixing in with your pink or your red roses, or your pink or your wine burgundy Germanies, can you see how they're going to work out well for you? Now, a great foliage to invest in all year round, like not just for summer or Christmas, whatever, would be the Fatsia leaves or the Aralia leaves. And if you have room in your garden, I would definitely recommend going to a garden centre, investing in an Aralia plant. It actually suits kind of more of a shaded part of the garden rather than a sunny part of the garden. They will take wild abuse, says her who has abused her Fatsia plants, you know the way, and they just keep growing and growing and growing. If there is any garden centres watching, normally Yvonne from Mylands Garden Centre in Galway just be watching, and she normally has a lot of the foliages that I suggest. She would have them for sale as a plant, and she distributes and delivers them all over Ireland, you know, that way. So, but if there is any other garden centre watching who has Fatsia plants for sale, please feel free, advertise there in the comments below, let us know, and we'll give you a shout out. Any questions there so far, Deirdre?
No, again, we're getting lots of weather reports. Tina's watching it from Belfast.
Hi, Tina, how are you?
Joan up in Belfast, or up in Antrim is good morning.
Hi, Joan, good morning to you.
Gail wants to know, what do you think of Explorer red roses? I'm not familiar with them.
Not that familiar with them. That's being completely honest. You kind of find like you have your favorites that you use all the time. Like Rhodes is another, Rhodes. That would be another red rose that we would use quite a lot in the schools. You know the way, it's a really dark kind of burgundy sort of shade. And I always kind of find like the darker the red, I think the more classier they look and the more expensive they look. But really at the end of the day, that is going to be personal choice. The other thing is when you have a name of a rose that you like, you know what I mean, say like for me, that I personally like the Naomi rose, is there's a lot of growers out there grow the Naomi rose. And there is a grower in Holland called Portanova. And when you go onto the online sites, and if you actually buy Naomi from Portanova, they are talk about the bee's knees.
And within Portanova, they have 4 grades of Naomi.
Yeah.
And the Supra being the top elite Mercedes grade of Naomi. And it can last up to 14 days.
There you go. So
but
again,
you're gonna pay big bucks for it.
Yeah. So pay peanuts, you get monkeys. You know that way, you pay for what you get. But really, prices are off the wall at the moment. Now, a very popular flower, and any of our students, they say, God, yes, Janette, like with the Lysianthus. Like Lysianthus is a brilliant flower. Brilliant for hand-tied bouquets, fantastic flower for flower arrangements, mixed bunches, or even for making smaller arrangements, even larger arrangements, continental, modern style, they work out well. Massive selection of colors, great lasting flower. And what I love about Lysianthus, what you see is what you get. As in, what you can see there is what exactly is in the bunch. Where with the likes of lilies, this will be the difference. What you see is maybe not what you're going to get in a couple of days' time. In their case, probably a week's time. As in, they are going to change so much, you know, that way. And it's only really with experience that you then can look at flowers so tight and then kind of like visualize yourself what they are going to look like in 7 days time, 10 days time, 14 days time. And for somebody that's starting off in the flower business, that is one of the hardest things for them to do. Do you know that way? Is visualize like how much the flower is going to open, how big the flower is going to get, how much space to allow it. You know what I mean? When you're mixing them with other flowers. Well, Lysianthus is a great flower when you're starting because, as I said, what you see is what you get. Now, another, and it's becoming so popular again. Like, yeah, people classed it as, oh, the 70s and the 80s, the owl carnations. The owl carnations are back on trend again. You know the way they're actually quite expensive. They're definitely not a cheap flower. Like for years and years and years, carnations were known as a cheap flower. Now that the price, and nobody wanted them. The usual, when something is cheap, nobody wants them. Now that the price has shot up, you know what I mean? Everybody wants them. There is such an amazing selection of colors out there. These are just kind of a burgundy red. The name of this shade is called Clove, Clove. And they actually smell like, again, if you're, depending on what age you are, if you're in around my age group, do you remember you could buy clove drops? You know, that way, they were like a bag of mixed sweets, or loose sweets was actually the proper name for them. And they were kind of pepperminty. Well, these kind of actually have that scent. They always remind me anyway. Now, carnations will last for absolutely ages. Again, presuming you treat and condition them properly.
Eileen wants to know, which greenery plants would you recommend to grow in your garden? We've a blog on it.
We do have a blog. So if you go to the blog page, there's loads of information there. But just quickly off the top of my head, eucalyptus, and there's many different varieties of eucalyptus that you can possibly buy. So again, if you go to a garden centre and they have 2 or 3 varieties of eucalyptus, buy the 3 of them. And pittosporum, and again, there's lots of different varieties of pittosporum. I'm just going to name like as in the plain green one. Now there's loads of plain green ones. The variegated one, which is just amazing. And then you have what's called the Tom Thumb, you know, the kind of blacky, winey burgundy shade. Now there's lots of different varieties of the wine one, the variegated one, and the green one, but definitely buy one of each of them. Both the eucalyptus and the pittosporum are all year round. They're evergreen. They don't use their leaves. You could be as thick as a plank and you'll be able to plant them. Do you know that way? Dig a hole, stick it in the ground. And even if you haven't got a garden, if you put them in a large planter, they'll actually come on as well. So there are 2 that we would use all the time.
Silver Sussex, probably.
Silver Sussex is another one. The proper name for that is Sussex Silver, but we're a bit backwards here at Case Flower School, and we have always called it Silver Sussex. And I think what happens then is the followers go to the garden centres looking for Silver Sussex, and they're saying, do you mean Sussex Silver? But yeah, it is Sussex Silver. Slow growing, but definitely, I know Mylands Garden Centre in Galway definitely had them, and there's lots of I just can't think of their names off the top of my head. Lots of garden centres who watch often will put up to say they have the Silver Sussex in stock. So again, I'm promoting there. If there is any garden centres watching, feel free. We're all about promoting people, you know that way. So feel free, put up your photographs, pictures of your plants there that you have for sale, put up your website details, your information, and we'll allow and like let people contact you. Now, foliage wise, you probably won't grow this in your own garden.
What's that, Phoenix?
Phoenix leaf, yeah.
I didn't think I ordered that.
There you go. So you must have sent it out for free for you. Phoenix leaf. If you're on holidays, like I'm going to say Spain, Lanzarote, you know that way, you see these growing absolutely everywhere. Now, yeah, you can grow a phoenix here in Ireland, but it's a much thicker, harder sort of leaf on them. These come in the sealed bags. Again, another great lasting. And I do have videos in the blog all about phoenix leaves, unpacking them. So again, if you haven't seen any of these items before, definitely go over to our blog. Or another great free kind of like tutorials that we have is our YouTube channel. Now we have over 10,000 followers. Our YouTube channel is quite successful. All the videos, all the tutorials are completely free. Do you know that way? And again, we would have lots of tutorials on treatment and conditioning of different flowers and different foliages, but also free demonstrations on making flower arrangements. Now, another one, okay, lucky bamboos. So hopefully we're feeling very lucky here at Case Flower School. These last for ages. 6 months minimum, and people will be out there kind of saying, oh, I had them for 12 months and I had them for a year and a half. They actually end up kind of growing. You can see the end of them already kind of like has a root system starting. Do you know that way? And even if you cut that and you place it back down into water, it'll actually start to root again. And you could probably, I don't know about growing a plant. If there is any horticulturists, they can give us a little bit of advice. But we use these in kind of like modern designs, like especially if you're looking for something kind of more continental, contemporary sort of design. These are absolutely brilliant, you know that way. I absolutely love them. And as I said, the great thing about them is they last for ages. So then we have our, I have a blank, not Originum. Again, another great lasting flower. And these dry out so, to be honest, like even just leave them in water, they just seem to dry out. And I know some of you yesterday joined me in when I was doing a very, very simple kind of recycling our Christmas door wreath up. You know that way. I am going to do another one of them during the week. A little bit more adventurous. As I said, Deirdre was a bit miserable on what she robbed yesterday, kind of foliage-wise, and we were waiting on our fresh flowers to come. So we are planning on doing another revamp, recycle of your Christmas stories. So if anybody hasn't yet done it, don't worry. And I did see yesterday somebody already in the Flowery Fun group posted up a photograph. Can't remember your name, but she done an absolutely amazing one. She obviously got a lot more foliage than I did. Okay, what else have I got here? Wax flower. Again, this is in season at the moment, okay? It'll be great quality from your suppliers or from your flower shop. And like, I love this as a filler, you know that way, instead of gyp, you know that way. Like, there's nothing wrong with gyp, you know that way. This comes in other colors as well. So it does come in white. You know, if you're kind of thinking to yourself, oh God, I prefer white, you can get wax flower in white. Fabulous scent off it. You like kind of a lemony scent. Great lasting flower. You can dry it out. It's inclined to shed when you dry it out, but if you do dry it out, if you put hairspray on it, that will stop it shedding. And again, you could use it up in your door wreaths. You know, that way it would be a brilliant one. And well, there's loads more phoenix leaf here. They must have went to town on the phoenix leaf. And the last flower that we have here in the box is chrysanthemums. Okay, again, don't dismiss chrysanthemums. Great lasting flower. Now, there's some chrysanthemums I'm not mad about. And there is some chrysanthemums that we associate with funeral work, as in the double chrysanthemums, the Baltics, the Pina Colada, the Euros, the Bonitas. They're all kind of like funeral chrysanthemums. So make sure that you don't use them.
I actually saw yesterday I don't think there's anyone in Ireland, but somebody had a wedding cake up decorated with Baltic, the pink and the white.
It's mad. But like, we cover that with all our students, you know, as part of the class. And like the Tato ads, there's always one. And there's always one. And I tell you, they get a private message from me when I see it, and a kick in the arse, you know the way. And you see that they put in the, you know, funeral chrysanthemums into their arrangements. Like, it's a no. And every flower shop, every florist in Ireland will laugh at you and say, look at the feckin' Egypt there putting funeral flowers into her basket arrangement. It's a real no. Like, you shouldn't do it, okay? Anyway, these are the funeral flowers. So these are your green chrysanthemums. And they are called, there's a few different varieties. And to be honest, I'm not exactly sure what variety these ones are, because again, they're just checking the invoice for me. But you have what's called the Feeling Dark Green. Deli green, okay? But the popular ones would be Feeling Dark Green, okay? And they look identical to this. And then you have Envy. Think of like green with envy, you know that way. And again, it's a green chrysanthemum. Always be careful. Again, it could be my pronunciation. When you're ordering them over the phone and you order green chrysanthemums, a lot of the suppliers will send you out a cream chrysanthemum. You know the way, they picked you up wrong. And again, there's lots of other varieties of green. These are definitely our favorite. I love them small heads on them. I just think they're amazing. They're fantastic in flower arranging, lovely textures, lovely shapes, and again, an absolutely great lasting flower. So I'm going to get all these treated and conditioned now. I'm going to put them all in water, okay? And our plan over the next few days, I did mention this yesterday, is we're going to be making lots of more free videos, free tutorials that we can post here on our Instagram pages, our Facebook pages, and our YouTube channel, designs for Valentine's Day. That's why we have the roses in. But again, I'm going to be doing designs that not using red roses, because can you see that gorgeous hat box that I bought in
Yes,
Deirdre?
sir.
So I picked up this hat box there the other day. Well, I picked up loads of stuff, but well, I personally think it's an amazing color, like an aubergine color. And I think this is going to work really well with red flowers, but it's also going to work really well with our pinks and our purples. Or imagine the mixed tulips, you know, that way in that. So again, you don't even have to imagine it, because this is my plan. And over the next few days, I'm going to get all these videos recorded for you. And we're going to post them here on the page, and you can watch them for free. And again, with all our courses, you know what I mean, we give you a breakdown of exactly what we're using and so on. Now, for me to give you free classes, I need you to do something for me. So I need you to interact with our page, you know, the way, especially like we've been closed for the last 3 weeks or so with Christmas and Christmas holidays and so on. So what has happened is the interaction on the page has started to slip a little bit. So anybody that's watching there, I would really, really appreciate if you went through the posts, you know what I mean, the last couple of posts on the page, give them a like, give them a thumbs up, just say something, even if it's that shit, Janette, you know the way, but say something. You needn't say it's shit. You can tell me it's lovely. Interact with our page. We'd really, really appreciate it. And even this video of going through the unboxing of the flowers, or a video yesterday of making the revamped, recycled Christmas store wreath up, maybe you could share that video. We would really, really appreciate it. And as I said, I'm going to be on then tomorrow, which is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, doing free tutorials with you. But listen, pay peanuts, you get monkeys. I need you to kind of like share and do something back for me as well. Again, if anybody has any questions about our courses, our module 1 and the module 3 is starting next Wednesday. Any of the ladies and gents that are booked on for it, some of your kits are gone in the post. Any of the SkillNet ones, they're probably not gone in the post yet, because the deadline for booking through SkillNet is tomorrow, and they will then pass on the information to us. But any of the rest of you, your kits are probably gone in the post, so keep an eye out for them. Be very, very careful on the module 1 when you're opening the bag. The florist knife is in the bag, so be very careful because it's sharp. Your scissors will be in there as well, along with all the other materials that you need. And the module 3 in your box is your guppy. And don't be emailing me to say that you got 2 sides the same. You're supposed to get them like that. And we'll explain all that in the bloom room.
Shani just wants to know, have we any tutorials on drying flowers?
We don't, Shani. I won't say most flowers. A lot of flowers, just hanging them upside down is probably the best way to dry them. A dry, dark, kind of, sort of place works out fine. But you probably would be as well to go to a specialist, invest in a good book, or there's probably good videos on YouTube. Again, if
and a lot of the
watching,
commercially dried flowers are all chemically dried.
Like we buy them all in, do you know that way? And for the price of them, like I'm not saying they're real cheap, but to buy fresh and dry them yourself wouldn't be worth it. Like a flower shops, if they had leftover roses or leftover wax flower, leftover jip, we do it ourselves here at the school. We would hang it upside down basically in a dry, dark room and just let it dry kind of like naturally. But it's never as nice as the dried flowers that you actually import, you know what I mean, that we buy in commercially. And it definitely works out cheaper for us to buy in the dried flowers. But again, somebody watching might have some good tips and hints for you. Feel free to comment underneath. Maybe comment under Shani's verse, under his comments there, and help him out.
Francis says, please show us the different types of chrysanthemums. As I'm a hobby flower ranger, you're the experts that tell and show me what to do.
Again, over on our YouTube channel, I actually have a video on the double chrysanthemums, you know that way, and pushing it down your neck and pointing out all the differences and why you shouldn't use them. So pop over to the YouTube channel and look up double chrysanthemums. That's what you're looking up. And again, you'll find it on the blog on our website. Now, when you do go to the website, there is another button called Student Resource, and you won't be able to click into that unless you're a student of the school, because all the students have what we call a login and a password for it. So it's specifically just for the students. And again, we would have lots of free classes there, information on wholesalers, etc. And we keep it updated all the time, because our motto here at the school is once a student of Kay's, always a student of K's. So it means then if a student has been out of the, you know, the scene for a year or two, and they come back and they say, God, Janette, like, you know, what wholesalers is around now? Who's the best? Who's the cheapest? Who has the best glass, fresh flowers, dried flowers, whatever? I would then just send them, go into your student resource. You have your login and your password from when you're a student here at the school. It'll still work. It's a lifetime kind of membership, and it's free. Another thing that we do here free for the students as well is when a student has finished all their courses here with us, their online courses, module 1, 2, 3, and 4. When you're on a module, you are made a member of a Bloom Room, and that's for the 4 weeks of your actual module. But when you're finished all your programs, we then move you into what's called the Bloom Studio, which is another private Facebook group. It's only for students of K's Flower School and only for students to have completed all their online programs, obviously with ourselves. And that's where we give free mentoring, free help, free support, but also they get a chance to watch the courses again. Do you know, that sort of way? So maybe they did their bridal course 2 years ago. Maybe they have another wedding coming up. They need a little bit of a refresher, and they know that in their Bloom Studio, they will be able to rewatch their tutorials again. You know, and there's lots of other advantages. Again, if they have any questions, they know then that there's a tutor. I won't say at their beck and call, but definitely within 24, 36 hours, a tutor will be there to answer all their questions.
And they have the support of each other.
The support of each other, which is probably the best part of it. Again, another motto that we use is connected by K's, you know, that way. So again, it's all students of K's Flower School. And if one of the students posts a question in the Bloom Studio, the other students are all there to help them. So maybe they put up like, I'm looking for silver candelabras. Anybody know where I can buy them? And again, the other students will say, I seen them in such place, I seen them in such place. And there's often a student says, listen, I have 20 of them. You're more than welcome to borrow them or hire them for me or rent them. And rather than actually having to go out and purchase them themselves, they're absolutely brilliant. They're great for helping each other out there. Again, if you need any information on the courses, drop us an email, info@flowerschoolireland.com. Any other questions?
No, that's it. Angela from Manchester says she just loves your presentation.
Thanks.
And Phil Kieran says, hi, could you tell me where I could get fresh moss? We need some too.
We need some too. So when you find some, let us know. Like, there is a couple of places that obviously you need a license to collect moss. So just to be aware of that. It's kind of like it's looked down on or frowned on to be kind of collecting moss at the moment, which is why you can't buy it commercially, because it's to do with the environment, you know, that way. And seeing it takes so long for moss to grow back again. So they're discouraging people from collecting moss or foraging moss.
I think if you're just getting moss or foraging moss for yourself, it's fine.
Yeah.
But not commercially.
Not commercially, as in getting bags and bags of it and selling it to make a profit. You're not supposed to do that, you know, that way.
With any sort of forage material, really.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
Yeah.
There's loads of things you're not supposed to do. And there's loads of things I tell you to do that you're not supposed to do either.
Let me see. I think that's Janice's great video, great watch. Looking forward to the videos again. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just kind of, as I said, we were getting our delivery in. I said, I'll go through the unpacking of it. You know what I mean? Just to make some of you, like that girl didn't know about chrysanthemums, just to make you aware of some of the items. And as I said, I'm going to have absolutely loads of tutorials, you know what I mean, over the next couple of weeks, coming up to Valentine's Day, coming up to Mother's Day. And again, the closing date for module 1 and module 3 is tomorrow. So if you're not in, you can't win. And when they're gone, they're gone. Do you know that way? So anybody that wants to book onto module 1 or module 3 starting next Wednesday, get in touch with us. Book your place on the website, www.flowerschoolireland.com. Or if you need information, especially on getting the grants, go and avail of the grants. At the end of the day, you have paid tax, or your partner has paid tax for years and years and years. You might as well avail of the grants. And like lots of people think you have to be unemployed for the grants. No, employed people and self-employed people, there's grants for you as well. So just drop us an email on it. Again, I had a couple of messages about the wreath kits. I know anybody that ordered the wreath kit yesterday, gone in the post to you. But these are the wreath kits that I was explaining yesterday, you know, that way for anybody. Obviously, if you're revamping your Christmas door wreath, you already have the frame. But as we kind of go on in the month, we're going to be doing like our spring door wreaths and our summer door wreaths. So you'll need these items. So they're the wire rings. There's 3 in the packet. Roll of organza material, 25 meters on the roll. I've just put in the moss green because, again, it's a neutral color. a roll of the real wire and a bunch of the 20 gauge wires. And we have them for sale on our website. So www.flowerschoolireland.com, and click on the floral sundries button. And again, you can buy lots of different items. Any of the module 1 students, we do have a couple of the turntables left. We're out of the turntables. When they're gone, they're gone. So you don't need a turntable, but they do make life that little bit easier for you.
Wild Feather and Event Styling says she highly recommends our courses. Caroline Ferry is down in Cork, and she says when she's out walking next week that there's loads of moss on her walks in West
There you
Cork.
go. Shush, don't tell anybody.
They'll all be running down
Bring
there,
a big
Carol.
black sack with you. And wear a day glow jacket. So then if anybody asks you anything, you always just say you're working for the council and you're just cleaning up the ditches at the side of the road, you know, that way. And then when you have a spare bag of it, address it to us, 465 South Circular Road, Rialto, Dublin 8. Okay, I'm going to love yous and leave yous. We'll definitely be back on tomorrow again with something else to show you. Thanks a million for joining. Again, remember I said about sharing some of our videos or even interacting with us. You know the way, whether it's just a like, a thumbs up, or a little comment under some of our other posts on the page. We just need it just to get the page rocking and rolling again. So have a fabulous day, everyone. Talk to you all tomorrow, and wrap up well if you're going out there. Good luck. I'm going to have a cup of tea now. See you then. Bye-bye.